And I will call the January meeting of the Culver Redevelopment Commission to order. If you would please stand and join me in the allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we
need to do roll call.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Ginny, are you ready? Do roll call?
Yes, sure. Jerry Siler,
Present.
Sally Ricciardi,
Here.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Here.
Sarah Jones is absent, and I, Ginny Munroe, am attending remotely.
Okay, great. Karen, what are the rules with Ginny calling in? Do we need to do roll call votes tonight?
Sorry.
Oh, no, no worries. So your safety is the priority, and I wouldn't trust those roads up for Mindy either. We have commission organization work to do. We have 3 offices to fill, president, vice president, and secretary. And if everyone's okay with that, I'll open up the floor to nominations for president of the redevelopment commission.
I would like to nominate you.
You being Jerry Siler, were you looking at Jerry?
No, it's not. You, Marty, the host.
All right. All right. Is there any other nominations?
That's one president.
Nope.
All right. Is there a second on that nomination?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jerry. I think. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, let's do a roll call, Ginny.
Jerry Siler,
Yes.
Sally Ricciardi,
Yes.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Yes.
and Ginny Munroe and I.
Thank you. I appreciate the confidence you placed in me. I'll do my best. Let's open the floor then for nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Sally Ricciardi again.
Are there any other nominations? I will second, the chair will second that nomination. Let's do a roll call vote on that, Ginny.
Okay, Jerry Siler,
Aye.
Sally Ricciardi,
Here. Yes.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Yes. All right.
Ginny Munroe and I.
All right. And then we have one other position, secretary of the commission. Are there any nominations for that?
Unless you want it, I will nominate Ginny to continue. I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Ginny, would you take a roll call, please?
Jerry Siler,
Aye.
Sally Ricciardi,
Aye.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Aye.
and I'm an UGG.
Okay. All right. Well, we got deja vu all over again, right? All right. Got the band back together. Look forward to a good year working. Good team. All right. The next thing on the agenda, approval of the minutes from the December 18th meeting. We don't have those quite ready for this evening, so we're going to defer that item till next month. New business. I have nothing on the agenda for new business. Does anyone have anything for us this evening? New? No. All right. Okay. Financial report. First of all, the December financial report. Thank you, Karen, for putting it together. A couple of thoughts on it. We ended the year with an ending balance of $1,591,963.84. We projected a year end of 1,545,000, so we're 46,000 to the good versus our projection that we made when we put our spending plan together. That does include even after the $55,000 payment that we made to Retail Strategies. The reason we're winding up ahead is because our revenues for December, the tax revenue came in higher than we expected. We budgeted 300, it came in at 388. And so that accounts for the 46,000 overage. The other thing I think that is interesting to point out is that our budget for the spending plan for 2026 has an $800,000 expected revenue number. Our expiring revenues, now that we can see them all, with the December one is 915,000, so 115,000 higher than we budgeted. Now, last year's revenue doesn't mean this year's revenue is going to be the same. So it's not that we can count on that number, but we know that we've got a potential tailwind from a financial standpoint going into the year. So I just wanted to point that out. Are there any questions for Karen on this? And Karen, did I misstate any of this? All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the December financials.
Make a motion to approve the financials for December.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. It was Jerry Siler that seconded it, Jenny.
Okay,
If you would do a roll call, please.
sure. Jerry Siler,
Aye.
Sally Ricciardi,
Aye.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Aye.
and I am an I.
Okay, great. And then we have the approval of claims. We have two claims from December, both of them very familiar. The $30,000 annual payment of water commitment, and then the $25,000 that we committed for the sponsorship of Wild Rose Mill. So a total of $55,000 in claims for December. Are there any questions for the chair or Karen on that? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the claims for December.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Jerry makes the motion. Is there a second? Sally makes seconds.
Okay,
Ginny, roll call, please.
Jerry
Sorry.
Siler,
Aye.
Sally Ricciardi,
Aye.
Marty Oosterbaan,
Aye.
and I'm an I.
Okay. So that's our financial work. Moving right along, old business, Main Street renovation project update. That's right next to the town manager update. I think I'll just let you go with both if you don't mind.
Yeah, not a problem. It would have been Tuesday this week. We had our kickoff meeting with retail strategies in downtown. I think the meeting went well. The timeframe, the way they presented the timeframe gives me a great deal of confidence that they're going to be able to do an analysis that's thorough, represents our communities without exhausting our community. One of the things that I've listened to people within our community, there's been a lot of feedback and input taken over the last 5 years, which has created both the situation of exhaustion from individuals of providing feedback, as well as almost being inundated with data. The one thing that I've heard from retail and downtown strategists, they feel like that we've given them a comprehensive, or at least a fairly complete picture of our community data-wise. And that's thanks to the work that went into the comprehensive plan. I think that more than anything, being so close in proximity to it, it gives me a degree of confidence that they're going to be able to move through that process quickly. The other thing that resonated with me during that meeting was that they're coming in to the community with an action plan. They're wanting that action plan to be specific points that people can rally around and organize resources and target specific actions to do on the ground, rather than kind of lingering in this kind of surreal world of planning, I guess is the best way of saying it. That gave me confidence. The one thing I was not concerned with, but we're not going to get on the ground until June. But when we're on the ground, they're wanting to move forward and put things in place. So it's not a lot of wasted time. So when we hit the ground in June with them being present within the community, I have confidence we're going to have an action plan that we're going to act on. I'm interested in a lot of ways, and they've resonated with us. One of the things that they are looking into that encourages me is how do we create an economic market that's comprehensive and it kind of complements what Culver is today on the ground. And I think I'm interested in hearing how they bridge, and let's be honest, that visitor tourism sector that we are in with entertainment, hopefully, and bring that and translate it into the economy. They also have an eye on the schools, I think, and so I'm looking forward to it. I think it was a productive meeting. The dashboard is up and running, and I think that communication link is going to be excellent. So it was a good first meeting, I guess, is what I said, Marty.
Yeah, I would second that. Yeah. Their expertise is apparent. They really know what they're doing. At least it's evident to me. Proof's in the pudding, but I feel very confident about that. I agree that we're not going to see them in town until June, but they're going to be analyzing the data until then, and they're going to come to town with some conclusions that they're verifying. They're not just coming to town fresh, starting the work. I had hoped that they could crank that data and get to town earlier, and we would have an actual draft master plan in a June timeframe. I don't know how much after June that we'll actually see that draft master plan, 30 days, 60 days, something like that. So we're probably 30, 60 behind where we initially thought we were going to be. But I gotta say, one of my favorite maxims is nobody remembers how long it takes you to do it. They always remember how well you did it. And if you got the right partner, a 30, 60 day delay isn't gonna hurt us, especially in the context of how long we've been working on this. So minor, I'd see that as a minor.
Moving forward in that interim spring process, one of the questions I have for them is how can we prep the soil before they get here? And I think one of the things that is most not concerning, but I think one of the things we have to be able to do is have an organizational structure in place in town, be it the chamber, be it, call it what you want, development. I know you hate the term, but having those Main Street organizations, whatever it is, articulated, defined, and ready, activated, mobilized is the way to say it, ready to go is, I think, important in the next few months. Finding those fresh volunteers, bringing back the old voices and rejuvenating them, giving them, and I think Karen mentioned it today, forming a level of trust with his company, with our partner. Don't call it company, it's our partner. Is essential. And I really appreciated Karen's point towards exposing them to this, our partnership, and letting them find out for themselves, discover for themselves what Marty referenced there, their expertise. I think that could go a long way of rejuvenating some of the trust that may have been tempered or at least exhausted in previous attempts. Talking with them. I think that's important to do in the next few months. The other thing that concerns me is just having that organizational structure of communication, a centralized point, a command center, a single person that can run it, right? Who can, after we define that, and I don't know if that's a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years, but it's going to take that kind of concentrated organizational eye for that development. It's going to be large. It's going to have a lot of moving parts, and it's going to demand the attention, I think, of a dedicated person. I'm not sure yet how that looks, what it is, but it's coming through to me at least in some conversations. But I'd like to hear what retail and downtown strategies has to say about that, about how to implement some of this stuff going forward organizationally.
So there's a lot of stakeholders. The town's only one.
That's right.
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 Somebody has to be on point for the stakeholders of this project, all of them, right? And so that's the Main Street organization, it's the visitor center, it's the town, it's the retail businesses. And this is in no particular order, right? The schools, the townspeople, right? The seasonal visitors, they're all stakeholders.
I think that group that we had for Stellar, where we had the 5 different committees, that was a great representation of about 60 people that had a vested interest. I mean, they attended the meetings regularly. You had the arts and group, and other than drumming up the old, for lack of a better phrase, the old chamber, the old developed Culver, the old, all those things, bringing those people back together as the Stellar group would be a good group of people.
Sure. Just in getting that.
And I have that if we.
Yeah, I like that idea if we can add more of the merchant group. Because I think Karen's right. Like every sort of aspect of the community was represented on that team. But we would want to amp up representation from Main Street itself. If we could.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay. I'll take that as a to-do. Karen,
Sure. I have the list. I mean, we can, personal invitations to most of them was what worked that time around.
all right, great.
The gift basket. Yes.
The
And there's some new ones that should be added.
leadership of that group, I want to think about.
Agree. Because it doesn't need to be me. Jenny and I do not need to be those people.
We may want a contract. You know, typically, a
Oh.
project like this, you know, your consultant, you could use your consultant as the, you know, as the facilitator, right? But I don't think we want that in this case. We probably want somebody local. So,
Yeah.
So let's think about that. I've got a couple of ideas, not individuals, but just approaches.
Okay.
Okay, well, town manager report.
Yeah, hey, it's 2026 and the thoughts are going, but my mind's on wastewater. It's being an imperative, but I don't want to live there. You know what I'm saying? Taking a few dogs out for a walk, so to say. One of the things that put in front of me is Culver Park and packaging a project there and taking a look at some quotes and some different ideas but trying to be sensitive budget wise. I asked Bob to go ahead and take a look at paving the trail that is out there on limestone with pavement, 2.5 inch deep. Milestone was nice enough to give us a quote on it, nice enough to come back and, you know, you're looking at an $80,000 project there. Couple that with a well project that would go in as we plant the trees and start looking at that. You're probably adding another 20 grand. I'm not sure. I'm just being safe on that. You know, you're looking at $100,000 project. Not sure that's the right way to go, but I want to do just some window shopping and try to get some ideas in front of us. So if we do have an opportunity, we take advantage of it. Now, the one question I want to run by Bob and some of the guys out at street is do we have to pave that? Is there another solution to that? Is there some things we can do? But some attention to Culver Park would be nice. And that was parks in general, I think, but trying to keep in front of not putting carts ahead of horses, timing wise. Wastewater is demanding a lot of frequency. I'm glad to say we'll have that RFQ coming in. We should have some candidates to interview in February. We should be putting things into motion, have an idea on expenses by March. And that should kind of eliminate the unknown in terms of budgeting. And hopefully in terms of bond, Karen, I'm sorry to do that to you, but that's always work. But I just think I'd like to be able to run when we can, once we get the determination if we can. And I think the one thing that resonates with me is we have the downtown, we have the beach area, but that park is a nice park and it gets frequently used. And I think we can improve, especially with sporting fields and stuff. Some of the tree planting that's going to go on, can we take that as momentum and get some things done to kind of improve our parks out of that area is key. The next thing I'm still keeping in mind, the dunes. And some of the infrastructure that may need to change there physically with the streets and the roads. We're still a year or two off from what I've talked to. I've had some good people discuss that, especially engineers, talk to me about, you know, when that clock starts. They said you still don't know your pattern of usage yet. You don't have them full.
The clock starts, I'm sorry, are you talking traffic, trees?
That's what I'm talking about, traffic.
Okay.
I'm talking about traffic and realignment, Marty.
Got it.
Until the problem is you can do projections all you want
Right,
until you
right,
get
yeah.
real flow, right? So, but that's something a year or two off that we're probably gonna have to revisit and re-talk about. If we're successful, and we hope we are with the dunes that we're filling them in. It seems positive so far, so a good problem to have.
Hey,
Water
Kevin, on
plant's
the,
going- yeah, Jenny.
on the parks conversation,
Yeah,
do you think it would be, I don't know if it makes any sense or not. I know there's some ADA things at the park and some ideas Crystal had and things you guys have talked about.
we have.
Should we look at like I know we don't need a master park plan or anything, but like a cherry picking list of here are some of the to-dos with rough estimate costs
Yes.
maybe, and we figure out what we can move forward on in the next say,
that-
2-year plan or 3-year plan.
Agreed, and I had that conversation with Rose before holiday break, and I want to get back to them at the end of this month, the next 2 weeks, and talk about that list. I've compiled a list of things that I think triage if you have to, but that can provide immediate access after that meeting. I know there's a real demand and a want for a pier down there. Not sure that that's going to be, I mean, that we're so close to the pier season, I don't know if that's not realistic right now. And I know they want it, but there are things we can do on the beach, Jenny, with chairs and some of the matting and some of the things with 80 that I heard in terms of that are simple fixes for not compliancy, but for greater access that I'd like to put in front, but I want to have that meeting before I bring anything forward. And I know that they've had conversations with redevelopment. And so, yes, the long answer to your short question. Yes.
So
I mean,
Ginny,
it is
Ginny-
nice to hear about some of the thoughts in Cavalier Park, like having rough ideas of, how you can improve that asset to the community, with the well, the trail, etc. I think that's a good list to work from, and we can add and take from it, obviously, but
yeah, there was also security cameras and hand dryers and supplying water to the restrooms. Is that all?
Yeah.
That'd be the well.
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking.
the well.
Yeah, and you would pack, I think, putting together a reasonable package within some type of price understanding. I mean, there are things too that have been discussed. I really appreciated Crystal did a lot of off-season work looking at a possible fitness, and Karen and I have seen some of the examples, some fitness stations out there, which is some
Mhm.
nice room out there for, but having a master plan necessarily like a 3-year, again, action plan and being able to budget that in and understand it. But that's something we can I think I'd like to be able to sit and put together in the next month or so.
Right.
After some conversations and put in front.
Yeah.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
like, Jenny, your term a la carte is really nice. Seeing that as a buffet. I'm a fan of buffets, so that'd be great.
Well, we've got 10 items on Culver Park,
Yeah.
right? Also, and so Ginny, I'm interested when you say we don't need a master plan for the park. But if we've got 10 things and we're going to sequence them, seems to me we need to have somebody that knows what they're doing help us with that.
yeah, I agree, to an obvious certain extent. I look at like the beach lodge, the park, our regular park, right? On the lake.
Yeah.
We've somewhat renovated from end to end, and then you have these things that emerge like a leaking window, fitness equipment, ADA, just what you have to still maintain and take care of, but then also other things start to emerge. And Cavalier Park got established as a park in a sense at some point, did have a plan, got implemented through Stellar grant money, etc. And now some things are emerging, right? That we wish we had added this or had the money at the time to do that or whatever. And yeah, maybe we do need some input, depending on what that list is. And some of that's driven by the public, Rose and some of the people that came in and talked about ADA were obviously doing events that we would do better at if we had some of those features in place. And it never hurts to have some public engagement on these things, but knowing the school wants some of this too, I think is helpful. What helps them draw people in or allow them to do things they couldn't do before, whether it's a tournament at the baseball diamonds or, that sort of thing. It's a residential benefit, but it's a school benefit as well in the case of Cavalier Park. I just don't want to put like $100,000 into studying what's really just a list of
Yeah, right.
No.
must-haves or,
I'm
you
not
know?
suggesting that, certainly. And you're the planning pro. That's why
Well,
I'm asking.
and
That may have.
Jenny, I'm wondering if you don't put these things on paper, articulate it in a larger scale plan, not necessarily that you're going to pull the trigger on all of them, But also,
Yeah.
if you're gonna look for funding, both from a private sector and public sector, does it help to package these things together? To kind of drive a funding package for it, and whether it be
Yeah.
through a grant or through private funding. I mean, I'm thinking fundraising on this,
Yeah,
from the community,
Or-
a capital campaign. And seeing that as an opportunity for our community to put in front, you know, you may not be able to sell somebody on toilets, but you can sell them on lights, restoration. I've just met with the Historical Society on some of the provision of the pavilions and ADA compliancy. Obviously, Braun is interested in it already, and they've had conversations, but packaging this and seeing that as a holistic approach to put
Yeah.
together a campaign.
Oh, definitely an
think-
action plan too of what's the priority in the list. What is there potential for easier money? Like there could be a patronicity project there. Those are fairly easy and they're not the nightmare that we're accustomed to with like Okra grants and other, things that create an audit for Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could cherry pick even some of the funding opportunities maybe. But having a nice, hey, maybe it's a 5-year action plan of park projects among all of them. And one could even be creating a new park. We've looked at the south end of town
Yeah.
and potentially doing something there. It could be pickleball courts or, we may need some public engagement, but not necessarily a full, comp plan type of planning event. It's more of getting the granular details, what should be the priorities and what's it cost.
Yeah, to me, it flips on, are we looking at the parking lot? If we're gonna make significant changes to that parking lot and reclaim part of that as back into the park, then I think you need a designer. Park.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Because now you're affecting potentially road. And Bob will have some thoughts on what to do there because
We've got infrastructure
got
work
some-
there.
yeah,
You're right.
he's
Jenny.
got
It's a
thoughts
streetscape.
about what's in front of the theater there. He knows there's talk about potentially widening that parking lot. And that'll definitely take a different approach than paving the trail.
Yep.
Right? Paving a
and-
trail is a little simpler than redesigning your road and your parking lot.
Yeah, 100%. And Bob's advice, bringing in several conversations, he said, go big on it. If you're going to package and do something uptown, go big on the streetscape because they've got a lot of infrastructure work there. Tear it out at once, get it done, and then come back over the top with a redesign.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
agree. And knowing the movie theater is going to be in that same locale, Bob will be able to tell you some of the issues that happen on the alley behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
at one point we had a stormwater issue coming down that hill that we fixed, but there's plenty of other things I think would be on Bob's wish list and on Crystal's wish list when you combine that. That could be, to me, that is more of a look at that package as you need some professional design there. Whereas maybe some of the other things are more, these are just things we want to check off the list.
Well, they're one offers, right? Not needing a strategic plan or an outside resource
Yeah.
to come in and plan. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, good.
you got it. I apologize.
That's okay. A couple things.
You have to say who you are
Yeah.
Very,
for the record.
very Marty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A couple things. One of them is, when I first moved here, I wanted to use a track for walking, and I think that running on concrete can be problematic for people with joint issues like bad knees or knee replacements, things like that. So I would then found out I could not use the track that belongs to the public school as a resident here. So can we put a track in that's for the public or make the track available to people who live in Culver to use it? I mean, even if we have like a QR code that let us into the track and, walking in circles, keeping track of how much time you walking on a softer surface, better for some people. Concrete or you know, it's a long-term picture. Is that, and then, the other ones, is there any plan at all or thought about buying the land next to the high school? Has there been any discussion about that? I haven't been to any meetings.
For the best, you're talking, when you say the land next to the high school, you're referring back to the west, the
Yeah.
field. That is not something that it was sold by the owner. That is, looking for development. I think there's single family housing going in there. Up to this
The
point,
lot that's right next to the high school has been sold.
from what we just annexed that property.
Yeah.
To the owner. The owner, I think, is has subdivided it into 3 different lots.
Right.
All public record. And the intention of what they're doing, I'm not sure. The conversation is centered around single family housing. And large, and on those lots, and to what that looks like, I cannot tell you. I won't speculate, but that's up. But no, to your answer, Mary, no, we haven't looked at purchasing it.
Okay, I was only thinking of it in terms of like a swimming pool. I was looking for a swimming pool.
And I love, and that's a brilliant, but that property, I'll just tell you from a developmental standpoint,
Yeah.
that's incredibly problematic property. The drainage on that thing, and that it's muck and it's low, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want that nightmare. So,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I didn't know
But
that.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
need water for the swimming.
Absolutely not. We could take a big one. But no, it's got drainage issues, so yeah. Okay.
All right.
Like the house they built near me and it dug a basement and it filled up.
Yeah, there you go.
Cement pond. There we go.
But it resonates with me, the idea.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir. That was just the thoughts, and I appreciate
Just
everybody's
like
comments.
the walking track idea, has there been any, you can either jot it down or, you know, circular track.
How would Bob pave it? When you're talking about paving the trail, is it asphalt or?
Yeah, it would be asphalt. It'd be like the trails that we have currently in place.
Is that runnable in your mind? Is
I
that
mean-
soft enough?
Yeah, I'm just saying for purposes of like running, if someone's gonna run miles or whatever.
Yeah.
and they-
It's a third of a mile, pretty close to a third of a mile
Oh,
around that.
okay,
But there's other solutions too. It doesn't have to be pavement. That was one that I wanted the pricing point. Bob and I have talked about millings, which can compact but have that kind of that softness.
okay.
And that might be, get a grinder for, we have a lot of millings, and that's something that we're gonna take out
Yes,
for
under
you.
crack,
too.
but-
Yeah.
Like an old fashioned,
Yeah.
yes. And I mean, yeah, but it would be like a cinder crack, but not cut you to pieces when you fall. But, bad memories running hurdles. There's things that we can do, but there's, hopefully we can get something done.
You could probably even get one of your vendors, Kevin, to get you a quote for specific. There are products out there that look like track, kind of like what we
Yes.
have on our basketball court.
Yes,
It's a softer. You see some of those built into playgrounds even,
you do.
where they take a mix of millings and then that soft turf stuff that, you know,
They
kids
make
can
that
pound away
combination.
on.
Synthetic.
Yeah. I imagine you could just ask one of the vendors to give you some quotes on what's it cost like per quarter mile or something.
Thanks, Mary. Anything else? Anything for Kevin? All right, then moving on, public input. Anybody online?
Gary Chestedine's online. But he's been unmuted, so.
Okay, Carrie, now's your chance, or Mary? Do you?
So regarding this redevelopment group that you're working with, in terms of like how they can present, I like their presentation. That was very informative and clear. Will they be presenting in June when they start to work with the town? So they have meetings or whatever?
Yes,
Unity.
the
Okay.
answer is yes.
Okay,
Yeah, and it'll be, it won't be a blue sky brainstorm. It'll be more, here's where we're at, here's kind of our options, what do you think?
okay,
There'll be a core team of stakeholders that will meet with them first to kind of draft, you know, a direction. And then it will get presented. Same day, right?
Okay.
Same day to the public. That's in June.
okay. So that'll go out on a town gun lake then?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we will heavily advertise that.
Okay, great.
Anything else? Member input, Jerry.
No.
Sally,
Nothing yet.
Karen,
I would just, I'm gonna comment on, we do allow people to walk. You just need to do a release of injury and a use permit. So I don't know how you got told no, but there is use permits to use school property at certain times.
Oh,
We don't allow it during the school day.
who do you talk to about that?
That would be myself or Mike Zahner.
Oh,
But we do there was, I don't think they've walked for a long time now. There was one that walked before school started
oh, okay.
inside the elementary gym. Using the track. Right now, we're in the middle of refinishing it. It's not done yet, but,
Okay, so the outdoor track.
Yeah. but yeah.
It is usable by the public with permission, is that what you're saying?
With the
Correct.
waiver.
You have to have a liability waiver. That way, if you get injured, it's not on us. It's
Oh,
on your,
Okay.
you're relinquishing that
What
waiver.
is your name again?
Karen Shuman.
Okay, thanks, Karen.
You can say you got permission for the big boss. Ginny, anything?
No, I'm just excited. We have some big projects coming along and little projects and a lot of balls in the air, but they all keep moving forward. And I think that's a great thing. And thanks to our team at the town and the people that Kevin and Karen and Bob and everyone work with in the community to collaborate on those. It's great. They're moving forward. Sometimes big leaps and bounds and sometimes baby steps, but it's important to keep moving forward, and that's exciting.
18. Yeah. Yeah, boredom will not be one of our problems this year. No, not. All right, I think then all we have to do is adjourn at this point. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Sally moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jerry seconds. Do we need to roll call that one? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. All right, we got more done than I thought today. Yes.